Hey there! It's June 26, 2019, and I'm Thomas, joined by Rita and Tom and Jose, and we're going to talk about the Crown project. Okay, Jose, what is Crown?
Crown is a community-driven blockchain project. It means that we have a standalone blockchain that's going for almost 5 years, and we have a community of users that are building new functionalities on top of it.
Okay, so what do you use Crown for?
Well, mainly Crown is used to sustain the ecosystem that it's building. It does this through staking coins and through the superblock. So I think that the main use case of the Crown coin right now is financing the work of developers and other people who are working on a remunerated base.
Okay, what is the superblock?
The superblock is a periodical payment of coins that were created but never minted to an address. So actually just a part of the block reward is paid out every new block, and there is another part kept back by the blockchain that is only paid out to proposals that passed because they had consensus of the nodes that are allowed to vote.
You say you have a proposal system. Who votes on the proposals?
Yes, the proposal system is, let's say, the central part of the governance, because that is the way that the blockchain enables, on one side, anyone with a Crown wallet and 25 Crown to submit a proposal to the network, and on the other side enables the Masternodes, which are up to the date the nodes with voting rights, to vote on these proposals.
Okay, how do I become a Masternode?
Sorry?
How do I become a Masternode? I want to vote, obviously.
A Masternode is a combination of a given hardware and a collateral balance. The collateral balance is always the same. It's 10,000 Crown, and the hardware needs to meet some minimum requirements. It is a server, so you need to be connected to the internet 24/7. And you need a static IP address, you need 1 gigabyte of RAM, and about 10 gigabyte of hard disk.
So the Masternodes are help running the blockchain. They're what's keeping you online, so that's why they get to vote.
Exactly. You can say that a Masternode is a full node that is incentivized by receiving a part of the block reward. But these Masternodes don't just vote and execute the tasks of full nodes. They're also block validators, as in miners, and they're also instant send propagators.
Okay, are they mining on proof of work? What are they making?
They're mining on a proof of stake system that we designed for Crown. It is based on regular proof of stake, but there is no wallet staking. So it fixes the, let's say, nothing at stake problem, and it only allows you to produce blocks if you also have the corresponding collateral. So having 1 million Crown, for example, would mean that you need to run 100 Masternodes. You can't just take that 1 million output.
Okay, so you have to participate in the network, you have to put up hardware and bandwidth, and you also have to have money. You have to put up money.
Yes.
So it's not just one or the other. Like in Bitcoin, you can just mine it with hardware. In, say, one of the proof of stake coins, I don't know what's still running, Peercoin or something, you could just own it and you would just get more of it. You have to do both to get more. And what do the Masternodes get other than voting?
They get staking rewards, the classical staking rewards like in Dash. And they can, each time they get a staking reward, they're allowed to mine 1 block in the next 72 hours. Because it's not a pure proof of stake, you also have a proof of work component, since if a Masternode or a Systemnode, which is also a mining node in the network, this is another layer of nodes to which we're also trying to expand the voting rights. It requires a much smaller collateral, and it's actually 4 times more incentivized than the Masternode by staking reward.
So it's proof of work too, so they have to have a big processor or an ASIC or something to solve a math problem for like a SHA-256
we actually cap the proof of work raise. So each Masternode will always calculate 60 hashes per minute.
Okay, so it's less than, say, like Bitcoin, where you need a supercomputer. You could have a decent server and you could make the necessary hardware?
Yeah, you just need one CPU, something really basic. You could even mine blocks with a Raspberry Pi.
Okay, what kind of proposals have people made and been funded? What kind of code or enhancements to the blockchain are people adding? Are they adding, I don't know, like poker games or stuff, and what are they making?
The governance code itself has been under a process of optimization for a very long time. So it has also served to fund repairing itself, right? And I think that most of these funds, I'm not aware of the exact number, but you could say that probably 80% of these funds have been going to development. And before, there was an internal fund by some of the co-founders, so the superblock was kept free for community proposals, but then once this initial fund put together voluntarily by some people that wanted to build on Crown. And once that was empty, development had to go through Superblock to sustain itself, and since then the priority has been on that, and it has been left to the community to fund, let's say, peripheral projects or additional stuff that goes into other directions that are not Crown core programming.
So unlike Dash, you're not just funded forever. You had a little bit at the beginning, and that's probably gone now. You're being funded for development. Tom, what do you think? It sounds like Crown is building their own Crown out of Crown. Do you think that's a good idea?
I think it's an interesting idea, right? I like the idea that self-building. I think that's pretty important of kind of any community, and as the value kind of grows. So does the project. But something I'm interested in is this kind of you've got Systemnodes and Masternodes. Is that right? Kind of what's the process of what's each one's purpose? Well, obviously, you explain what Masternode's kind of purpose is, but what's the Systemnode's purpose? And also, I understand that the block rewards that they're given differs, and one is more than the other. So I was hoping you could kind of explain that a little bit. Yeah,
definitely. So Crown at first is just a, let's say, normal cryptocurrency Bitcoin clone, and then the people involved in the project start building new stuff on it. First is Namecoin timestamping, then Dash governance, and now own consensus algorithm and other registration possibilities. So once the design for these additional functionalities was laid down, which happened initially in December 2016 and afterward again in 2017 in a more concrete way, the concept of Crown platform emerged, which means beyond the, let's say, peer-to-peer electronic cash and basic timestamping possibilities to build additional registries on top. So that's Crown Platform, and within Crown Platform, both node types have different functions. So for example, Masternodes, as they require a higher collateral that enables a higher amount of trust, would have backbone functionalities like approving maybe agents or approving system intrinsic ways of KYCing businesses that optionally want to, form a kind of legality within Crown, while Systemnodes would have been more the front end in that design. They would have been application hosters and would allow for, let's say, micropayments within these applications because you're already running a node, distributed cloud, and let's say more user-oriented functionalities while the other do the core work. That's the difference between them from the technical level, and of course then you have at an economic level not a real difference because they're both full nodes incentivized, and both can mine blocks and both get staking rewards.
So for Bitcoin you can mine by just turning on hardware, but with Crown you mine with hardware and money. Ryta, what do you think about that system?
I think the system might be pretty innovative, and the fact that you guys are evolving the system on the go, and by voting, so you're creating the technology. If some little parts of the code or algorithm doesn't work, you change it, right? So everything goes through proposals. Do you have something next in plans, like some other kind of big changes in your system, in your technology?
Yeah, I agree with Thomas that this is an interesting topic to discuss, the proof of stake and the fact that to produce blocks or to mine, you need to have a capital behind it. For Crown, it was a concrete problem that had to be solved. The problem was merge mining and centralization of mining due to only really big pools being able to mine us. Crown was merge mined for 4 years, and especially at the beginning, back in 2014 and 15, there was definitely early miners who produced a lot of Crown. But then towards the end, there was just 2 or 3 entities producing Crown from mining, while the staking was actually being done by the active community. So it was, let's say, it was a decision. I'm not going to say democratic, because in the end only Masternodes voted, right? But it was a decision that was taken by a huge majority of the Masternode network to eliminate the miners that had unintentionally forked us because of technical reasons several times, had caused a lot of instability in the network. And then we had different options. One of them was going back to a low hash rate GPU mining, and this was the other one. So what we did is we capitalized on the node network that was existent and built, thinking from there, a proof of stake system. And yeah, right now you either accept Crown with services or you buy the collateral that's needed. So it's hardware is not enough. It's either time or services or staking, but there is still many ways to, let's say, generate Crown without having to invest money into them. And that can be from community contributions, working through the proposal system, or through accepting Crown and services. So that's also a way that I encourage, and not just thinking of it as a passive investment, or thinking about it like an investment where you get a return, periodical return. Well, that's another way to view it, and that's, I'd say, the hardcore proof of stake way of seeing it. But I agree that this is a topic that needs to be further discussed to find the best way to deal with this, and to keep usage and participation open and not centralized to just a few Masternode owners.
Well, I agree, and I think it's also an interesting point that to attack the Crown network, even to break the code accidentally or by tweaking or something different, you would have to have both the mining power and the money power. So it literally increases the amount of money that it would take to even attempt to attack the network. It's just one more layer.
The amount of coins necessary is not available, because there's already 50% locked in active nodes. So it's going to be really hard. I think that trust in the network would have to be really low, so that all this Crown could be even bought in an attempt to attack the network.
So I think that's really interesting. Tom, do you have any more questions about Crown?
I don't know, it sounds like, what's Crown's end goal? Like, Crown's obviously, it seems like Crown's, to me, like Crown's kind of supporting a lot of development, a lot of kind of research, and it's very much a kind of thinking man's cryptocurrency. But where does Crown, where does the community see Crown going? What do you think, what areas do you think are most going to be affected by Crown?
The main goal of Crown is to become this platform that can be used by anyone, that can be either leveraged at a commercial level or openly used like Bitcoin technology as an end user without intermediates, to either move and transact monetary or with these additional registries. That's the main goal, and what we're trying to do is connect ideas and business models that can leverage this technology. So the best that could happen is that this initial internal process of building the platform dissolves itself in a 1.0 version, and that then everyone can just dock where the interests are given. I see the biggest potentials, probably notary services, registry, maybe patents, maybe other forms of ownership, but also registration of real-world assets as the platform gains more legitimacy.
And Jose, where can people learn more about Crown?
Well, we have the Crown tech site that gives an introduction into the project and links to a lot of community chats. If you're rather a crypto enthusiast and want to hang around with people and chat with them, then I recommend to join Discord or Telegram. And if you're looking to build use cases and to learn more about the platform at a technical level, then I would recommend to read the technical Medium articles, to visit GitLab where the development processes are public and open, and to engage there by creating maybe a GitLab username and playing around with the code, because anyone can fork it, create their own repository, merge new stuff in, and try to expand the platform themselves.
All right, great. Thanks, Jose, for being on the show, and thanks to Tom and Ryta for joining me. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure.